Hello, my name is Zeno, and it's been a long time since I've done a YouTube video. But because of this recent controversy that I sparked by saying having a label called reflector does not serve you, then I got quite a firestorm of people who said, "Oh no, it's a really good thing. It's a good thing for me. Look at how it makes me feel." And, I don't want to offend anybody. I am such a wimp, really, when it comes down to arguing or fighting or something like that. I've spent a lot of my life doing that, and I know that doesn't serve me. Now, the reason why I wanted just to make this little video and see if I could come to a certain kind of conclusion with this subject is just as follows. The work that I have spent my adult life, more recently, the last 20 years, say, is to bring the information of the revelation mechanics to the world. So there is a calculation, and you probably already have your chart. If you don't have your chart, then there is a calculation based on your birth moment. And as a result of that, the way that the human design body graph can combine, it gives a maximum result of 5 different combinations. The first of which is called no definition. Now, there are also 2 modes, either having a design to do or to wait. And it is obvious to me that when this first time we were presented with a class on what are called the types, it helped enormously to see the 3 kinds of waiting versus the 1 kind of doing. And so we already knew design to do, oh, that's easy. Motor gets to the throat, this energy of the motor can manifest. So it gets this name manifester. Let us agree, no big stretch. Then we had the sacral center being defined with a design to wait. And the sacral motor is the body's generator, that it is going and going and going and going, the Energizer Bunny. And so this is this generating of energy. Gets the name generator, very cool. Now we come to the 2 what are called non-energy types. And the non-energy types are differentiated between those people who have no definition, therefore have a defined or an undefined sacral center, versus those people who have definition, have a design to wait, and have an undefined sacral center also. Now, these 2 types, no definition and a design to wait with an undefined sacral center, do have something in common. So we don't want to just ignore the fact that that undefined sacral center does give us a huge clue in how the person operates in the world. We want to see that they have something in common with each other. And anyway, the class on the types labeled that one with no definition a reflector, and the one with definition but not with a defined sacral, having a design to wait, the projector. And so in this differentiation, you see, okay, the projector is an intention-seeking chart style. And so for the person who has this, they really need to see who helps them, who their allies are, as does this other type, non-energy type, of being a reflector. And so in the evolution of that work, then it came next to strategies. How are you supposed to live your life if you're one of these people who doesn't have a design to do? Everybody wants to do. And, I recently came across, I had a conversation with a woman who does not have any motors defined, does have the throat defined, and she looks at her lucky life of having lived this almost 70 years and just blessing after blessing after blessing, good life, lucky person, and says, oh, I have the best design. Look at this. Oh, those people I know with a design to do, those poor people, wouldn't want that. And so you have to understand that we have all developed a certain prejudice of thinking that really everybody wants a design to do. Well, we have to go back to this conversation about reflectors and this huge controversy that I started by saying it doesn't serve you. Okay, what do I mean? If you have no definition, that is simply the definition type, 1 of 5. As a result of the calculation, there are 5 different ways centers can combine, the first of which is having no definition. The most complicated and least commonly occurring is called quadruple split definition. So this gives at least 8 centers as a definition, and it can have either a design to do or to wait. But someone with no definition has the design to wait. That's first and foremost. Okay. So why would I say this doesn't serve you to call yourself a reflector? And if we're looking at the chart of somebody who has no definition, do we first start off by saying, oh, you probably just reflect people who come into your aura? And so I make this argumentative statement saying, you call yourself a reflector / reactor. And if you are not reacting to the conditioning, we can say you're a reflector. And so that was the basis of my comment of saying it's kind of a fraud to start off with, I'm a reflector. I'm a reflector. And we don't know that you are a reflector if you have no definition. We are saying that this is the holiest of options if you get there. But we don't want to start with that. We want to start with the understanding of what it is to be conditioned. That is where you want to start. And somebody with no definition has been conditioned the whole life. So you want to see where there might be bad habits or something, a transit like Neptune's transit right now to the 55 in the solar plexus is hooking up anybody who has root gate 39. And then 35 in the throat center is activated by Jupiter until December 3rd. This is affecting anybody with a 36 in the solar plexus. So this is useful information. The strategy that got developed was you get to wait a month, 28 and a half days, and so that you experience all the phases of the moon, because you are this reflecting personality type. And one fellow wrote me that it is good for him to use this because it absolutely slows him down and it gets him into waiting. Now, waiting is a totally different subject, and it is a very important thing for almost everybody to understand because of the original interpretation that is quite dominant and popularized. There is this assumption that everybody wants to do, and so what one waits for is one reason that I think you really want to benefit yourself by knowing how your design works. And I say, this doesn't serve you to call yourself a reflector. It's slightly inflationary, a little ego. Oh, isn't that a nice name? And if you don't puff yourself up and you really are somebody who watches, then you understand what my suggestion to you is. You get to watch. You get to be the fair witness. You get to be the one who observes and can see all sides. You get to be the one who recognizes and gets to absolutely tell the rest of us what is loving. You get to tell us if your world is loving or not. You get to be the determination. You get to be the reader for the rest of us. And calling yourself a reflector is a relation to other people, a relation to conditioning. And if you're good with that, really, why should I argue? It's not my type. It's not my definition type. I just say it may not be serving you on the path of truth. That is a result of the calculation. It isn't an insult. It isn't attempting to say you're a flawed human being. It's none of that. It is saying this is the result of the calculation. No centers got defined. That's all. And when you take the next step up, that you label it as a reflector, as though that is a given, this is an assumption that I would caution you from making. It isn't automatic that somebody with no definition is reflecting. Yes, it could be reflecting reactivity that one feels in the environment. Anybody can do that. All of us with undefined centers have the potential to reflect back habitual or destructive or reactive conditioning that we experience through centers that are not defined. And that is anybody. And so when we would be on the path of truth, and you don't have to be on the path of truth, I realize that this is an assumption that I make. This is my way of being flawed, that I think people aim for the good. They want to be waking up. They want to be responsible. They want to be conscious human beings. They want to participate. And in my delusional fantasy world, here we come to the highest description of the clairvoyant, the fair witness, the watcher, the one who is really neutral and able to determine what is loving and what is not. And I see this as a holy role. And in this, that I would argue with somebody who says, oh no, this reflector thing and this strategy. Now I have to get back to this one subject that somebody brought up who asks, does anybody have evidence that this works? And I said, whoa, top of the class, go to the front of the room, bravo for you. Because the first thing about all these interpretations is you get to be verifying for yourself if it's meaningful. And if you look at this strategy of 28.5 days and you say, I can impose this on my life, I have to make a decision, and so I'll put it on the calendar that in 28.5 days, I can revisit this personally. Maybe that works. How do I know? I only argued that I did have that early job of watching where the moon was as it changed 2 or 3 times a day. And I did that 1 month study and did not find that was as meaningful as just looking at the way the chart worked, what my activations worked, how I was conditioned, etc., etc. And so I would say that if it works for somebody, and this is the way of really learning what it means to wait, then okay. I would just say, if you don't verify that that is something that works for you, this way that you would be proving to yourself that that theory, that interpretation is flawed for you, that each of us gets to do. And personally, I would say that's a very flawed strategy because it isn't life. And if you feel like this is a natural way of living your life and it is helping you and you are more conscious because of it, and it really penetrates and is meaningful for the instances that are in your life, then we're going to say good. And if not, you start with no definition and the 9 centers and how each of those centers is conditioned. So you get to identify, and it's a lot to identify, how these 9 centers work. Okay, so I don't know if this, it just keeps going in and out. It's auto adjusting.